everyone, and welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
Jerry, guess what?
We're
Guess what, Jerry?
It's that time. Is it?
It's week one. It's week one, Jerry. Week one is here. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we are. Week one is here. It is week one of the NFL season. The Panthers play in less than a week. I could not be more excited. I'm stoked. I'm like really excited about this season. We're doing our season prediction show today, so we're gonna go through the schedule. We're gonna pick wins and losses. We're gonna decide if we go to the playoffs. This is where it all happens. Right here on paper is where Jerry and I decide if the Panthers are gonna make the playoffs.
Yes, and yeah. Now before we really get started, I want to say I've been very critical about Rule. I think he should have been fired last year.
What?
But with that being said, I am going into this with the thought of this, that he improves as a coach, that McAdoo helps him grow as a head coach a little bit. McAdoo has gone through wrong things, and I'm expecting this coaching staff to get better, and that's what I'm doing my predictions with. I am for the rest of the season. I will be critical of him, but I am not downright hatred of him. I am ready to move on. I forgiven him. I am moving on for this season for right now. All right.
Okay. So Jerry is optimistic.
We're Panther fandom now. That's it.
Okay. Okay. You're choosing to support your head coach until he is no longer worthy of your respect.
Correct. He's got a clean slate right now for me.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's good. That's progress.
Yeah.
That's huge progress, honestly. Yeah, I mean, I've always kind of been a little on the fence. Trying to stay as positive as possible, but also recognizing that maybe it's not the best coach in the world. So again, I'm fully on board thinking that the coaching staff shakeup will be beneficial to Matt Rule. Year 3, that's when Matt Rule has shined everywhere he's been. This is year 3 for the Panthers. Is he going to shine? Find out next. That was a little Mike Greenberg tease for you. Okay, but before we do get to the season prediction, there has been actually quite a few pieces, roster movements, things that have taken place. So, Jerry, why don't you let us know what's happened?
All right. The Panthers released Kenny Robinson and wide receiver Rashawn Henry from the practice squad. Kenny Robinson was really early and kind of surprised me that he stuck around, got on the practice squad, then they released him. But he is gone. The Panthers also waived defensive tackle Davion Nixon from the actual roster. I wouldn't be shocked to see him back on the practice squad if he clears waivers, but there were some teams that were very interested in him, so we'll see. Panthers also signed defensive end Henry Anderson to the active roster. He's a journeyman. Kind of a little shocked that we brought in a 31-year-old journeyman defensive end. There's some better quality guys out there, but I guess he feels
cheap, probably.
Cheap, and I don't know. Maybe they still want to see what the rest of the edge rushers have, but they also signed a couple of practice squad guys in wide receiver Preston Williams and safety Marquise Blair to the practice squad. Now, Preston Williams is kind of an interesting name considering he was in Miami. He made some plays there, but he was released and they put him on the practice squad. We'll see how he does.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, again, not a guy that's going to come in and change the offense, change the team at all. But Henry Anderson, excuse me, he had 7 sacks one year. A few years ago, 2018.
Was he have 11.5 for his career in his 6 years?
And 7 of them in 1 year. And since then, 2019 he had 1, 2020 he had half, and 2021 he had none. So, it's just obviously a depth play there. They got rid of Davion Nixon. That didn't surprise me too much. I kind of felt like he was on the bubble anyway. Um, but to get rid of him for Henry Anderson, who, you know what Henry Anderson
Oh
is,
yeah.
right? Like it's obviously they felt like Davion Nixon wasn't going to develop in anything, or they didn't want to put the time in to develop it. Maybe that's the case. I don't know,
Who
but
knows? Maybe because I kept telling you, man, the coaching staff and Scott Fitter kept raving about him. I even heard about him playing inside and out. You know,
this year though,
yeah, I heard it
did you
this.
hear that this year? Because I
Yeah,
heard a lot in 2021. They
I
talked a
heard
lot
it.
about he was flashing things like that, but I didn't hear much about him
Scott
this year.
Fitter mentioned it on the radio on WFNZ during his interview. He was talking
Is
about how
WFNZ canon though? Is that real?
yeah, like it was during an
Okay.
interview. Like again, I've heard it this preseason or this training camp, so it was a little surprise to me. I mean,
Okay.
I get what you're saying. I think McCall did outplay him in the preseason, and
Hmm.
I understand why it was Nixon instead of him. But oh well. I mean, we'll see what it is. We'll see if he gets on the practice squad or what.
I mean, that's the thing is like, Panthers Twitter is going crazy today because of Nixon being released. This guy's a fifth round pick in 2021. Didn't play most of 2021 with an injury. Didn't really do much this year. In training camp, I didn't see him flash. Um, and he got released. Fifth round picks get released the year after they were drafted all the time. They get released the year they were drafted all the time. People are saying that he would have been a second round pick if it weren't for off the field issues. Well, we don't know that. Number one. Number two, he wasn't a second round pick. He was a fifth round pick. If he was that good, his off the field issues would have still made him a second or third round pick.
I,
I mean,
I agree.
it's not that it's not a big surprise.
And the coaching staff has had over a year with him. And if they're not buying into the way he's playing, maybe this is the kick in his rear that he needs to step up his game. I mean,
And
Derek Brown had that last year when he got benched. I mean, sometimes a player
true.
needs it.
And it's not only on the field production that gets these guys cut. There are meetings, there's practices, there's training camp, there's film study, there's all kinds of stuff. We don't know what was going on in that locker room or in those meetings or in the coaches' offices or whatever. We have no idea. Now, I'm not saying that Davion Nixon is a bad guy or anything like that, but we just don't know. We don't know what the reception was from him. We don't know what the reception was, what he was saying to the coaches. We just have no idea. But long story short, he's off the team. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't think he was going to play a ton this year anyway. So, whatever. Okay. Any other thoughts there before we sort of move on to the meat of this podcast?
Nope, that's it. I mean, again, Henry Anderson, I was just like, really? That's who we signed? But whatever.
Yeah. Well, speaking of meat, Jerry, this podcast is brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped, Jerry, if you will bear with me one moment here because I put my thing in the wrong place. Okay, that's what she did. All right, so support for MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast, brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below the waist grooming. Their products are precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped's Performance Package is the ultimate in men's hygiene. Join over 6 million men worldwide, that's 12 million balls, Jerry, who have trusted Manscaped with this exclusive offer to you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with promo code MeowMix. And that's at manscaped.com.
The Performance Package 4.0 has arrived, and oh man, it's a game changer. Inside the package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker, ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, and Performance Boxer Brief, and a travel bag. The fourth generation trimmer features cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is waterproof and also has a 4K LED spotlight. Need a more precise shave in those hard-to-see areas.
Yes, very high resolution, 4K, HDR. Yes, it's amazing. My favorite product maybe is the Crop Preserver ball deodorant. Sometimes things get a little sweaty down there. Use the ball deodorant, cleans it right up. It's going to change the way that you approach your hygiene routine. Trust me when I say this, fellas, your balls will thank you.
Get 20% off and free shipping with code MeowMix at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. And use Manscaped. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job.
All right. Now that the business is out of the way, Jerry, let's have some fun. We're going to talk about the schedule. We're going to go through each week. Now, again, this is September 5th. Do we know who's going to win on, January 1st?
Yes.
We do. That's why we're going to tell you. We definitely do. But yeah, we're going to go through. We're going to talk some schedule here, Jerry. So we're going to kick it right off here. Week 1 coming right up. Now, this is not our official Week 1 preview podcast. We're going to do that in a couple of nights. But we do still need to talk about this because this is part of the schedule. So Week 1, home game, Cleveland Browns. What are you kind of looking forward to, and what's your prediction? Again, we're just going to go real quick here, one sentence or two sentences as far as what you're looking for, and then a winner or a loss.
Well, I'm really looking forward to the run defense, see how they really fare against, probably the best back tandem in the league, and also Baker Mayfield's revenge game. I mean, it's going to be a revenge game no matter what he says. He's going to go out there and ball out. He did it against Texas Tech when he was at Oklahoma. I just expect him to really want and go gun-ho on this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's Baker versus the Browns. That's the headline. That's what, non-Panthers fans are going to be looking forward to. That's what Panthers fans are going to be looking forward to. And obviously, Week 1, right? Football's back. We're excited. Jerry, I'm going to go ahead and give my prediction first here. That's a big W for the Panthers. We're going to take home the victory there.
Same. W.
Same.
All the way.
Yeah. Jerry's flashing the Wu-Tang symbol for you podcast listeners. All right. All right. Week 2, Jerry, who we got?
At the New York Giants. What are you looking forward to in this?
Week 2. Okay. Week 2 here at the Giants. Panthers are going against a team that it's not going to be very good this season. This should be a game that we win handily. Defensive line going up against Daniel Jones. Cornerbacks going up against Daniel Jones throwing the ball. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking for a huge defensive effort in this game. I
agree. That was my theory too. I'm very excited to watch this, secondary honestly destroy Daniel Jones. I'm expecting 2 picks. I could be...
Yeah.
At least
I'd set the over-under at 2.5.
I mean,
and I might go over.
I feel like they could have a decent Saquon, another good running back if healthy.
Yeah, maybe
if healthy. But
yeah.
Again, it's going to be one of those situations where the quarterback's not there, and I don't think this secondary is going to give up anything to him.
Another win. And their wide receivers are just not. They're not very good. I mean, Kadarius Toney could be good if he stays healthy, but Galladay is nothing compared to what he used. So, yeah, I've got a W here too. Panthers starting off 2-0. All right, Week 3, back home for the next 3 weeks in a row. By the way, 4 of our first 5 games at home against the Saints. So this I feel like is going to be the first, obviously first divisional matchup. First time we get to see Jameis this year. Jameis going against the corners again. This is kind of a theme of mine, by the way, is bad quarterbacks going up against the corners. And I know not everybody thinks Jameis is a bad quarterback, but he does tend to turn the ball over. So I have 5 interceptions in question marks here. And then also the Kamara versus CMC matchup is always fun. So that should be a fun game to watch.
See, and I'm here going the opposite. I am very interested in Baker Mayfield going against this defense. And New Orleans just got rid of one of their best corner, in my opinion. And Chauncey Gardner, whatever, I can't say his name. Anyways, but I'll be interested because they also have a good defense. Their defensive coordinator is now their head coach. And I'm also kind of curious on just how this team really reacts to having a new head coach. Sean Payton was supposed to be the mastermind, and every prediction I see has New Orleans like a top-tier team, and I'm like, Dennis Allen sucked as a head coach, and
Do you
the
know what his
Raiders.
record was
I do
as
not
a head
know.
coach? 8-28.
So again, he sucked
Mm-hmm.
as a head
Yeah.
coach. Now,
Not that the
obviously,
Raiders were any good at that time. I mean, they're bad, but yeah, he was not good. Not a good head coach.
and is Preston Williams going to be the guy? Is he really going to be able to orchestrate that offense like Sean Payton? Very interested in New Orleans, by the way. I'm just saying. I think people are really early jumping on their bandwagon. I'm like, we don't know how this coaching staff's going to really react. But that's me.
Yeah, I think the hype is way out of control in New Orleans. That being said, I do have a loss here for the Panthers.
I have a win. At
I have
home,
them.
I think that's
Yeah,
where it gets him.
I have them splitting with New Orleans. So spoiler alert for Week 18. But yeah, I do have a loss here. Just I don't know, just a feeling. Week 4, who we got?
At home against Arizona.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What you looking forward to?
I am looking forward to this defense being able to contain Kyler Murray. We've played him a couple times already, but Kyler Murray's now a veteran, got a big contract. I'm very curious on how they're going to try to maintain him in the pocket and force him to beat us with his arm, because that's how you're going to beat Kyler Murray, is keep him in the pocket, let our defensive backs, manhandle their receivers, and just see how they do it.
Yeah, and you say they're receivers. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is not going to play. He's suspended. Christian
I
Kirk got
forgot
traded.
about that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Christian Kirk was in.
Christian Kirk got traded. Yeah, well, he got $90 million. Somebody thought he was good. They've got Marquise Brown from the Ravens, who was a good receiver. AJ Green, who may not be a good receiver anymore.
Yeah.
Was he ever really a good receiver?
Yes, he was.
Dropped a lot. He dropped a lot of balls. That's all I'm
He
saying.
made Andy Dalton look decent, okay?
Or did Andy Dalton make him look decent?
Don't say that while I'm taking a sip of my water. I almost did a spit take.
So I don't know. The Panthers always play the Cardinals well. Historically, we have always played the Cardinals well. Doesn't matter who the coach is, doesn't matter who the quarterback is, we always play them well. And I think we're going to beat them. So I got a W here.
I actually have a loss here, but now that you mention it, and I didn't realize Hopkins was out, and we're at home, I'm switching it to another W. That's 4-0 for me, baby. 4-0.
Wow. Okay. See, I got the 3-1, which I thought was I actually had the New Orleans as a win before, and then I went and changed it to a loss because I thought 4-0 was just ridiculous that we weren't. There's no way we were going to do that. So
we went 3-0 last year. Maybe we could improve on it.
Oh, maybe. All right. By the way, that's a 4:05 home game, which is it's kind of rare, but it happens again the next week as we play the San Francisco 49ers, a home game. That's a 4:05 start. This one is interesting because Trey Lance is coming to town. It's the first time we'll get to see Trey Lance as a starting quarterback here. They've got a good team. They've got a really good team. Their offense they've got elite playmakers all over the field. Except maybe running back. Although Elijah Mitchell last year was pretty good. So I don't know if he's going to be healthy, but interesting. So yeah, with their coach is a really good, Shanahan's a really good play caller, does some different things. They kind of had Debo last year as a running back like the second half of the season. And he played extremely well. So they throw a lot of different things at you. I'm interested to see how Phil Snow kind of adapts to that. What are you looking forward to?
Basically what you said. Basically, I'm very interested in Trey Lance. I highly regarded him in that draft. And with that being said, I'll be interested in how we contain him and what he does. Now, overall, I have this as a loss because I think Shanahan's just a really good coach, and I think he can out-coach. I'm on Matt Rule's. He's clean slate, but Shanahan, in my opinion, is one of the best coaches in the league right now. So I think he could out-coach and find his way into a W on this game.
I also have this as a loss, although it would not surprise me if the Panthers win this game.
No.
Hang on one second. Um, Kyle Shanahan. Would it surprise you if I told you that Kyle Shanahan had a losing record as a head coach?
Yeah, actually.
He does. He's 39-42.
Hmm?
That's what I looked up real quick. So that is kind of interesting.
Oh yeah,
But
he
yeah,
was with Washington for a little bit as a head coach.
Yeah. So I do have this as an L as well. So I have us at 3-2 right now. You have us at 4-1. I do have in my notes here that this could be the first loss of the season. So I do have I'm hedging my bets a little bit. Next one though, this will be a tough one. Who we got?
We're going to Los Angeles to face the defending Super Bowl champs, LA Rams. Got to fly across the country to face them. I mean, at least they get to see the new fancy stadium. But man, that team is old, but at the same time, it's a very good old. It's not a
good team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, my notes for this one are basically how are the Panthers gonna react to adversity? Because I feel like this game, I think they could get punched in the mouth pretty early in this game.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
How are they going to come back? I think, again, McVay, one of the best coaches in the league, he's going to have really good second half adjustments. What are the Panthers going to do? This is, by the way, the third 405 game in a row. I don't remember the last time that ever happened for the Panthers, but we don't have hardly any primetime games this year, but we got 3 405 games.
It's that West Coast teams. They try to do that for the West Coast.
Yeah,
so they
but
don't...
the first two are at home. And normally that's like that's the advantage that East Coast teams have is they play that 1 o'clock game.
They still don't want to do that because a lot of the West Coast complain that it's like, they're waking up super early their time. And
I don't care about those people.
Yeah, you don't, but I'm sure
that's where most of your ratings are not coming from, Nevada. I mean, maybe Las Vegas, but anyway, so I do have an L here. I've got the Panthers with a loss.
I do too. That's my second loss. 2 in a row. 4-2 for me right now.
We're 3-3 for me, and we are heading back home to face Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. My notes here. Is this Tom Brady's last time at Bank of America Stadium?
Yeah. Yeah,
I think it might be. I think it's very possible it will be.
And will the Panthers defensive front chew up that injured offensive line and maybe make it a nice going away present for the Panther fans for him?
It could be. I have this as kind of the last of a really tough stretch of games. That's 4 games in a row against teams that a lot of people are saying are going to be playoff teams, and I think were playoff teams last year. Get a little bit break the next week, but yeah, this is going to be another tough game, and I have us with a loss.
I have us as a loss, too, and maybe Tom Brady hits that wall finally. Maybe that offensive line beat up in the middle, Derek Brown, Ioannidis can, charge through and get him happy toes.
Yeah.
But it's Tom Brady. Even though he struggles here in Bank of America Stadium, I'm still going to go with him. He's still the GOAT.
You can't count him out. Every time you count him out, every single time, he proves you wrong every time. So I'm just not going to count him out until he counts himself out. Basically,
I mean, just ask the next appointment. Our next appointment, our opponent knows that as well.
Yeah.
Atlanta.
Who is our next appointment, Jerry? Yeah.
At Atlanta, 28-3, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, the Falcons, I have this as a bounce back game. So, we've gone, based on my schedule, we've now lost 3 in a row. We're sitting at 3-4. So a nice bounce back game against, Mariota or Ritter. That's another one I notes is it could be Ritter here facing the Panthers. Either way, I think the Panthers corners are going to feast in this game. Outside of Kyle Pitts, they don't have anybody that scares me at wide receiver. Yeah, I think this is a big win for the Panthers.
They had that new rookie. I can't think of his name right now, but Drake.
That's fine. I don't know anything about
But
him.
but either way, I agree with you. I personally have a feeling that this team is trying to not the front office is purposely trying to get a top tier quarterback this next draft.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they built this team to shed some, cap weight and just kind of get
Mm-hmm.
that top pick, maybe get some more picks and build for the future. And all power to them. I know they can't announce that, but if that's what they do, good for them. I mean, I hope they
It
don't get
definitely
a top
seems
tier
like
quarterback.
that's. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think everyone expects them to be a really bad team. So
Yeah. So
I don't need you.
I have a win. It's gonna be I have a feeling it's gonna be a rough year for Falcons fans.
All right, so I have us at 4-4. You are 5-3. Is that right?
One, two,
At
three,
this point.
four, 5-3. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Week 9, heading to Cincinnati. Super Bowl runner-up, Cincinnati Bengals. We get to go against Joe Burrow, who I personally think is probably the future of the league at quarterback. Future MVP, maybe multiple time MVP, could be the MVP this year. I mean, he's that good. He has that good of a receiving core. That's my key right there is the receiving core against our DBs. And by the way, I think our DBs may be like the best part of our team. That's why I keep talking about them. But going up against Chase and Higgins and Boyd, that's tough, man. That's a tough assignment. And Njoku, who sometimes is good. I mean, people seem to like him. I don't really get it, but some people like him. It's going to be interesting.
I agree, and I'll be interested to see how Cincinnati responds from that Super Bowl loss. A lot of times that Super Bowl loss hits the loser pretty hard.
As we know.
And not only that, Joe Burrow, as much as I agree with you, that dude is super talented. He's also been injured a couple times. Kind of see, how it is. Have they improved that offensive line to keep him upright?
Yeah, their offensive line was not good last year. And I know they have done some work this year to improve that. I don't have their names, obviously, in front of me, but I think they're going to be good again this year. I would expect them to be back in the playoffs, which, again, as you mentioned, is not a given with Super Bowl losing teams. So, Week 10, Jerry, a familiar foe.
Atlanta, here in Bank of America Stadium. Atlanta, I think at this point of the season, fans and some of the players are starting to look towards the offseason drafts and stuff. And again, I don't blame them, as this is what I think that the front office wants to do. They want to move on into a new direction, probably with the same coach, because I think he's on board too. But Brian Flores wasn't, so.
True. Arthur Smith, who may or may not be good. We don't really know. It didn't look great last year. For my note for this one is good opportunity for Matt Rule to show that he has learned something.
Yeah.
Right? Because this is now the second time in 3 weeks we're going to play the same opponent. Do something different than you did the first game, right? Make your adjustments, and let's see what you learned. That's what I'm excited to see. But I do have the Panthers winning this one as well.
All right. Next week, we go up to the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, we go to the Ravens. Again, another kind of high-powered offense. I think Lamar, and this is not really going out on a limb, is the best running quarterback in the game right now. Panthers always kind of have problems with really, really good running quarterbacks. And they have, they just have a really dynamic offense. Again, another team like the Niners that have a really dynamic offense. They don't have the playmakers, I think, that the 49ers have, but their head coach is just as good, if not better. And their defense is also really good, always really good. So just a really tough game for the Panthers, and I got on with a loss.
Baltimore, we've played some of the best coaches in the league, and John Harbaugh is another one. Lamar Jackson is an MVP candidate, one of the most dynamic players currently playing the game. This is a loss. I think Baltimore is actually going to be prime for serious Super Bowl contention this year. It's tough that AFC is loaded, but I do think that they are Super Bowl contenders in my eyes.
Yeah, I agree. And their division is pretty weak this year. So I think they're going to, well, other than the Bengals, obviously. But they're going to be pretty good. All right. Next week, we are back home against the Denver Broncos. And what am I excited to see here? Russell Wilson in a different uniform. We've had a kind of a rivalry with Russell Wilson, particularly with the Seahawks, but kind of it started when Russell Wilson got there. Russ and Cam were kind of the two young QBs going against each other, played tough games all the time, met in the playoffs a few times. So interesting to see him with a different team. They've got a good receiving core on that team, Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton. So they also have a couple of, Javonte Williams, a really good young running back who at this point of the season, I would expect to be getting most of the carries. So just a good team to go up against here at this point in the schedule.
I agree. I'm just not sold 100% on that team. I think in my eyes, they're slightly overrated. I do think they're going to be a good team. I don't want Broncos fans to come at me and say that, oh, he said that we're horrible. No. But with that said, we're at home. I'm saying W, win.
Yeah, I got to win as well. Yeah, this is kind of the beginning of the stretch where the Panthers really kind of put their foot down on the pedal for me. Some very winnable games, and that's the first one. Finally, the next week, Jerry, is the year in a row, and week 13, the bye. Finally, this is like the third or fourth year in a row we've had a week 13 bye, really late bye. I don't like them, but here it is.
They're good if you're pushing for a wild card and you're in the wild card because it gives you that little bit of time to rest. But depending on who's injured and stuff, I mean, we've seen it before where we want an early bye because of all the injuries. But here we are, week 13.
Yeah, it's just that's a lot. That's what 3 straight months of every week. It's just a lot. But coming out of the bye, we get a gift. We have to travel, but we're going to Seattle, who is not going to be a good team this year. Yeah. My note here is, how many points can we score? This should be a blowout. Start your Panthers in fantasy.
I agree. This is another team that I think is doing the rebuild the correct way in we're trying to win, in quotation marks, of I'm starting Geno Smith at quarterback.
And Drew Lock is backing him.
So, our starting running back retired in training camp. I don't even know who their running back is. Look, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett.
Penny or somebody?
Like DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, they're good. They're under contract past next year. They're going to go for a top-tier quarterback, and they're going to reload. That's my prediction. So, with that being said, they're going to be planning for their offseason already. And this is a Panthers W here.
Yeah, it's definitely a Panthers W. And I think that's all we need to say about that. So the week after, we're back home playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that believes they already have their quarterback of the future. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Trubisky or is it going to be Pickett?
At this time, it's Pickett. This is week 15. Pickett's there. I'm bringing up the fact that we have played now Mike Tomlin, another great coach. I mean, even Pete Carroll's a great coach. They're in the midst of a rebuild. This is step one of a rebuild for them. But I mean, seriously, we are going against some top tier head coaches this year.
Yeah, I mean, Cliff Kingsbury, right, with the Cardinals.
Okay, calm down.
They're not all great coaches.
They're not all, but I was just saying that we do face quite a few good ones.
Do you think the Steelers are going to be good this year?
I think they could be good in spots because I think Mike Tomlin's another good coach that can kind of coach up a team. And TJ Watt's just a beast on the other side.
I don't think they're going to be very good. But I can see the argument because Ben Roethlisberger was just really bad the last couple of years, and especially last year. He was awful. So if they hit on Pickett, then I think they could be good because, like you said, TJ Watt's good. They've got
Hmm.
Chase Claypool. They've got, Najee Harris, a really good young running back. Other parts of that defense are very good. So they could be good. But I have the Panthers winning this game because I don't see them as a playoff team, the Steelers.
Yeah, I could see that. Again, I think that Mike Tomlin and those they do have some talent. Not sure if they're
Mm-hmm.
all going to pan
A lot
out,
of
but
talent.
I mean
Yeah.
that's what the Panthers are too. A lot of talent. Will they pan out?
True that. True
But I
that.
say they will, and it's a win.
Okay. Next, Jerry, who we got?
The Detroit Lions are coming to Bank of America Stadium. Dan Campbell eating knees and all that hype on the Hard Knocks. At this point, I don't even know if he'll be the head coach.
Really?
He may
See, I
get.
think the Lions are going to kind of be frisky this year.
I don't. I, I, I just don't. I think Jared Goff's not a very good quarterback.
Mm-hmm. I
They
agree.
have St. Brown. I like him. They have some good pieces. Aiden Hutchinson, I think, is going to be a beast.
I
But
really like DeAndre Swift. I think they have a really good running back. He can do a lot of different things.
so that being said, I'm not on the frisky Lions fan bandwagon that everybody else
Mm-hmm.
is, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think they're going to be frisky. I don't think they're going to win this game. I think the Panthers are going to win this game. It's a home game against the Lions. I mean, come on, give me a break. So I do think the Panthers win, and I don't think it's particularly close, but I wouldn't count the Lions out. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs or anything, but I think they're going to win 7, 8 games. I think Dan Campbell keeps the job. All right, so week 17, last 2 weeks here are divisional matchups, and they're not super easy games. Both away. This one at Tampa Bay. Um, this is an old team, Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
This is an old team in Tampa Bay, and we're in January at this point. This is actually on New Year's Day. Has Tom Brady broken down by this point? I mean, a lot of off-season stuff
Yeah.
has been going on with Tom Brady. Giselle, his wife, his kids, they don't seem to really be excited about him playing another season. The mental fatigue, does he really want it that bad?
I mean, heck, he took 11 days off to get a facelift in training camp.
I think that's why he took the time off. But
You look at the pictures. Look at the pictures before.
like, that's just called, spending time with your family.
And Botox.
Everybody knows you spend time with your family. Get a little, Botox is a family. You get a family discount. Yeah, I mean, I think this is. I'm saying this is a loss for the Panthers, but I think there's a very real scenario where this is a win.
I have a loss here. Again, Tampa Bay has a lot of talent. They have a new head coaching staff, but Bruce Arians is still up in the booth. I think he is still there. Tom Brady's still there. It's old, but this is their last push for another ring, and I think we're going to take the L on this one.
Agreed. All right, week 18, the final week of the season.
We travel to
Jerry,
New Orleans.
Tell us where we're going. Yeah, the New Orleans Saints.
We always seem to end our seasons with New Orleans for bad and good, but this year I think it's going to be for good. That defense, even though they kept their head coach, they're getting older. Cam Jordan's over 30. I'm not on the New Orleans bandwagon, as I mentioned before. They'll be interesting, and I could be completely wrong. If they're as good as everybody else, all the experts think, then this could be an easy L, but I don't think they're going to be that good. And I say W. Panthers are pushing for the playoffs at this point, so they get the W.
Yeah, I had the Panthers splitting with New Orleans. I had the loss earlier this season, so I do have the win here. And my question to you, Jerry, is do you trust Jameis Winston in a must-win to make the playoffs? The answer is no.
Yeah.
No one should. He's Jameis Winston for a reason. Yeah, I think the Panthers win this one, and I have the final record at 10-7 for the Panthers, doubling their win total from last season.
I have them at 11-6.
Yes, you do, Jerry. Yes, you do. How you feeling about that, Jerry?
I'm
Did you realize you're gonna have 11 wins?
I did not realize I was going to 11 wins. I told you I'm all on board this year. I'm clean slate, trying to get it,
Yeah.
but no, I did not
When I
realize.
went through it, full transparency, when I went through it the first time, I had us at 11 wins, and I was like, that's ridiculous. I can't see this team winning 11 games. So I went back through it again, and I ended up with 10.
I mean, okay, if the offensive line holds up, if Baker Mayfield can get into a rhythm and be a top 15 quarterback. I'm not asking him to be a top 5 quarterback. Top 15 quarterback. That defense stops the run, and this secondary is what we think it is. I could easily see us doing this. Maybe not.
I mean, 10 wins gets us in the playoffs. Like
Yeah.
I think all that happens to get me to 10 wins. And 11 wins is just one more win. It's just one potential ball bounce that goes the opposite direction, gets you to 11 wins. So it's not like we're crazy off, but it looks different to me. 11 looks different than 10. It just does.
And then there's always a game or two that, the ball bounces the wrong way. A fumble goes out of bounds instead of
Right.
But with that being said, the Panthers team lost 10 games. 10 games leading last year. I mean, if that offense could be improved last year, that defense was getting too tired. We saw that. We kept harping on that. The defense, gets a water break for a 3-and-out and runs back out on the field. By that time, they just got tired. So I'm hoping with Baker Mayfield, a healthy Christian McCaffrey, they can move the ball, keep that defense fresh, and really may not win the division, but at least get to that wild card and make some noise.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, anything can happen because we have talked about Brady, every year, Brady. Well, if this is the year, right? They don't have another option at quarterback that's going to be able to come in and do anything close to what Tom Brady did last year, even. Mike Evans is hurt a lot. He who knows how many games he plays this season. That offensive line is decimated. They're coming in really injured. They could fall apart.
Julio Jones
could win. Julio Jones, who knows?
Exactly. He would look bad in Tennessee.
Godwin's another one that gets hurt a lot. The Panthers could win this division, and it wouldn't be that shocking. I mean, maybe it's outside of Carolina. Yeah, it'd be a huge shock. But if you really think about it, it's not it's not like even a 1% chance. Like I'd say it's like a 10% chance. Like it's a decent chance.
Things have to go right. Like you said, the Tom Brady age wall has to happen. That is one of the key things and other things would have to go right for the Panthers. Like I said, Christian McCaffrey staying healthy, offensive line working, Baker working. Like, but there's a possibility there.
Agreed. All right. Well, that is the schedule. So we're going to go and we're going to do a little prediction in terms of individual players, I think. So you want to kick it off here, Jerry, and tell us what we're looking at first?
We're going to start with Rookie of the Year.
I'll let you go first so I don't steal yours.
I'm actually going to go Icky.
Okay.
I know it's such a taboo thing, but I think he helps really solidify that O-line. He's going to have some rough goings first off. Myles Garrett scares the crap out of me on Sunday, but for the most part, I think he solidifies that. He continues to get better, and he protects Baker Mayfield. And again, I'm thinking this line, James Campen might be my favorite offseason acquisition. I'm not even going to joke.
He's awesome. He really is. He really is cool. Yeah, I mean, Icky is going to finish the season better than he starts. As long as he stays healthy. I think that's a given. So I would agree with you. I think it very well could be Icky. I think the only other real option is Brandon Smith at linebacker. And he's going to have to get the playing time. to really do enough out there. But I think he could. But I'm going to go with Icky. I think Icky's the right call. Next, we're going to have Offensive Player of the Year. Now, I feel like you can go a lot of different directions on this one. I'm going to go with what I think means the best news for the Panthers, and that CMC, Christian McCaffrey, is going to be the Offensive Player of the Year. If that happens, the Panthers win double-digit games, and that's just the fact.
I have CMC as well. If he's healthy, even if Baker Mayfield is a top 15 quarterback, Christian McCaffrey's catching 80 passes for,
800 yards.
800 yards, yeah. So
and running for 1,000. I mean, that's
the CMC. That's exactly
CMC. Yeah, I mean, and Baker. What's Baker's ceiling? At best, maybe 30 touchdowns. I mean, he's never done it before in his career. 30 touchdowns and 12 interceptions, something like that would be a great year for Baker Mayfield. A great and something we haven't seen here in a long time. Really since 2015, a season like that. So that would be awesome. But I think that only happens if CMC is healthy, too.
I agree. Because we've discussed this, backup running backs have not looked good, and I'm not sure the other guys can really carry the load. Obviously, CMC is just a different beast. I mean, when we practiced with New England, their beat writers were like, he's just a completely different player. Like, he's a beast. Yeah. You see it on practice.
Yep. Going to the other side of the ball, Jerry.
Defensive Player of the Year. I think this is not surprising. Brian Burns, I think he gets that double-digit sacks. I think he's going to get 14 sacks this year, something like that. I think he really lights up. He gets another Pro Bowl bid, and I think he gets some All-Pro bids. I think he's going to be considered one of the top edge rushers in the league by the end of the year.
I like it. Man, there are just a lot of places you can go on the defense. There are a lot of good players on defense. I think I'm going to go Jeremy Chin. I think this is Chin's kind of breakout season. I think he ends up with well over 100 tackles. I think he ends up with a handful of interceptions, a few sacks. I think he's just going to be an absolute menace out there. He's going to play safety, but I think he's going to be kind of a safety that does a lot of things that your typical safety doesn't do. I'm really excited for him this season. I think this is kind of where he takes off. I think he earns, if not an All-Pro, certainly a Pro Bowl, his first Pro Bowl nod this year.
Nice. Yeah, I can see that. Another guy I was considering, Shaq. I'm hoping he stays healthy. He may not get the recognition as the other guys we just mentioned, but I think just that linchpin, that leader in the locker room, he could also be considered in this for him.
And we would be remiss not to mention J.C. Horn, who, if he plays a whole season as well as he played the first couple of games last year, will be a Pro Bowler.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Absolutely.
Really good player. It's just all is he healthy? And you're playing some really good teams this year. Excuse me. Those first few games last year that he played were against teams that were not very good. So, it's going to be a different animal for him this season. But, got to mention him as a possibility there as well. All right. Final one here. Surprise of the year. So I assume we're going to say like positive surprise, pleasant surprise.
Yeah, pleasant surprise. I am going to go, someone I talk about a lot. I was debating it, a couple players, but I'm going to go Shi Smith.
Okay.
I think that slot, he claims that slot receiver role. He looked really good in preseason. He looked like I was expecting him to look last year, where catching over the middle, making a couple guys miss, being able to break something off fast, elusive. I think he's going to be very beneficial to this team in that slot role.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. I honestly didn't even think about him. part of me wants to kind of be snarky here. I'm going to go with CJ Henderson.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be so good that we can trade him midway through the season and get a really nice return on our investment with him and still have Djax and JC Horn and some of the other guys that have really played well in camp, and still have one of the best corner groups in the league. But I think that's going to be kind of the surprise, is that CJ Henderson plays so well that we get like a second round pick for him or something, or trade him for like that defensive end that we need or something like that.
You don't think that they're gonna try to keep the three together, especially because they have the 5th-year option for him next year?
I think that's why he is very attractive as a trade option, honestly.
Okay.
I think someone could trade him, see they've got that extra year, and make it work for him. But honestly, man, like if he plays really well and they can get a second round pick or better than what they gave to get him, I think they should do it, honestly, because I'm a little worried that maybe he's not worthy of that number 9 pick.
Oh,
I mean, he certainly hasn't shown it yet.
He hasn't shown it, but
yeah.
I could see them wanting to keep those three together, because especially
can they afford it?
They have all three they have all three under contract for the next 2 years, no matter what.
Yeah.
So that's
but yeah, and you could do the 5th year on CJ, but most of the time when it comes to that point, you're extending them, right?
Yeah.
Rarely are you, doing the 5th year with an eye not to extend. Unless it's like, like a Baker Mayfield situation
or
a Sam Darnold situation, right? But typically, if they have a good enough season, so I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But that would be my surprise. I think that would be a pretty big surprise if he got traded midway through the season. So.
All right. No, you're absolutely correct. It would be a surprise. Now, I don't have this on our sheet. This is going to be a little surprise for you.
Oh, no.
Beer bet of the season.
Oh, gosh.
So, I will take the over of 750 yards by our tight ends this year.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Terrace Marshall.
Oh, no.
I was about to run away with that.
I just did Shi Smith. I think Shi Smith may crack 500 to 700, but I think our tight ends between Trimble, Thomas, and Ricci, I guess Sullivan too, have over 750 yards, because you're constantly saying how bad they are.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they are bad. They're very bad. What if they make a trade and get somebody else in here? Okay, how about this? I'll take the bet as long as it's those 4 players while they're on the Panthers.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Now, if they trade for pie in the sky, Rob Gronkowski some reason wants to come play for the Panthers, signs here.
Okay, sure.
It nulls out this bet.
Okay, I'll take that bet. He will not sign here. I'll take that bet.
Me too.
I've seen some weird rumors the last few days of Dalton Schultz from the Cowboys. I've seen some weird rumors that the Panthers are a potential trade partner from him. I don't see it happening, but
I don't either.
For example, if that happened, then I think we would have to null and void the bet. Is what I'm saying. That's all.
I agree. I'm fine nulling it.
Beer bet of the year. That's a big beer bet, or what are we looking at?
I don't know.
Like a nice bottle of Macallan 25 or something.
No, not that much. Yeah. I mean, come on, my wife will kill me.
All right, Macallan 15. How about that?
Jerry, what's his charge for the liquor store?
I lost a bet.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you love that. Okay, yeah, sounds good. All right. Well, anything else?
That'll do it for us.
Okay.
All right. We want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. If you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on the show. Please support our sponsors at cbdx.com. Use code MEOW for 20% off. And Manscaped. Use promo code MEOWMix for 20% off there.
We'll be back in a few days to preview the Panthers Week 1 matchup against the Cleveland Browns here in Charlotte. Very exciting. Until then, everybody stay safe out there and keep pounding.